This horrifying story happened to me last summer and the nightmares still haunt me. As always, I was hanging out with my friends Jeremy and Simon, and we decided to chill at the abandoned 2 Fort map. My friends loved discussing the latest anime titles. I couldn't understand how they could watch those cartoons, but I had no other friends, so I had to lie that I also watched those anime titles. What a cringe. When we arrived at the abandoned 2 Fort, we found an unknown device standing right in the middle of the road. We started examining it, and then Simon exclaimed, "This is a portable teleport. I've used one before. My uncle is an engineer, and he builds these things all the time. Let's try it," shouted Jeremy. I tried to object, as we didn't know where it would lead, and what if it— "Are you scared?" shouted Simon, and jumped into the teleport without waiting for us. "We are anime fans, we've got nothing to lose," shouted Jeremy, and used the teleport too. At that moment, I couldn't imagine what such a reckless action by my anime-loving friends would lead to. The teleportation took a lot of energy from me. I had a terrible migraine, a pain so intense in my head and my ass that I had never experienced in my life. It took me about 5 minutes to come to my senses, and there I stood, observing a horrific scene. Jeremy lay in a puddle of his own vomit, but Simon was nowhere to be found. How long did the teleportation take? We had clearly arrived at the abandoned 2 Fort in the morning. It wasn't even 12 p.m., and now it was already getting dark. I looked at my watch and froze. It was already around 10 p.m. I looked around once more and noticed torn underwear lying next to the broken teleport. Could this be all that's left of Simon? I felt uneasy just thinking about what could have happened to him. So I hurried to wake up my friend Jeremy. "Wake up, there's a new season of your favorite anime, My Lucky Store." Just hearing those words, Jeremy jumped to his feet as if nothing had happened, and he hadn't been lying in a puddle of his own vomit just a minute ago. "What happened here? Where is Simon?" Jeremy's face suddenly became very sad, and he almost burst into tears, mumbling something under his breath about Tik Tok. Heavy like a Brinks truck. He was talking nonsense, obviously in shock. "We shouldn't stay here at night. I need to get him home as soon as possible." To get out of the abandoned 2 Fort, we needed to cross to the other side using a wooden bridge. But as soon as we stepped on this bridge, I immediately heard some strange sound from the other side of the bridge. This sound gradually increased and started to sound more like music. The music made Jeremy worse. He started singing out loud, "Tik Tok heavy like a Brinks truck." A couple of seconds later, he started dancing. This really alarmed me. I felt very scared and uneasy about what was happening. My survival instinct kicked in, and I grabbed Jeremy and ran away from the bridge. We hid under the bridge, and to keep Jeremy quiet, I covered his mouth with my hand. To my surprise, the sounds from the other side stopped. I let go of Jeremy and decided to see what was happening. What I saw there is indescribable. A silhouette of a man in a gas mask whose size exceeded all imaginable and unimaginable forms. He stood on the other side of the bridge and stared intently in our direction, like a hungry beast looking for its next prey. I hid back. Terror engulfed me. I could hear the beating of not only my heart, but also my friend Jeremy's heart. The deafening silence was broken by the sound of the man's footsteps from the other side. He walked across the bridge, and the bridge creaked under his heavy steps. Reaching the middle, he stopped. Some strange noises started coming from the bridge. I couldn't help but look. This muscle monster was making some strange movements that looked like a workout. He decided to work out now? What the hell? His movements took my breath away. They were so coordinated and graceful. I froze in amazement and watched him, not knowing how much time passed. The melody on my friend Jeremy's phone snapped me out of this hypnotic state. An anime ringtone? Damn, this is gonna get us all killed. I snatched the phone from his hands and tried to turn it off as quickly as possible, but I couldn't, so I threw the phone into the river. But it was too late. The man in the gas mask standing on the bridge had already turned his gaze towards us and started muttering something. But it was hard to make out what he was saying. Now I understand that he was saying, "Oh, Anime fans, get over here, sweet ass. Those words froze my blood and I ran as fast as I could away from the bridge. I ran for about 5 minutes and only then did I realize I forgot my friend. Jeremy. The thought made me stop abruptly and turn around. The sight sent a cold sweat down my forehead. This monster held Jeremy above him. The whole area around the gas mask monster was splattered with some unknown white liquid. No matter how much I cared for my anime-loving friend, the first thought that came to my mind was, if the monster is here, then no one is on the bridge and I can escape this nightmare. Without a second thought, I rushed to the bridge. I was already on the bridge and no one was visible on the other side. As I ran to the middle, I realized that someone else was standing behind a column. I stopped and saw a man, clearly an engineer. I understood this from the wrench in his hands. He stood there, smiling. Just the sight of him terrified me more than the previous monster in the mask. Looking back, I realized there was no way back. The silhouette of the masked monster was already visible. Is this it? The end? Such a thought crossed my mind.
And here he is, the third anime fan. You've got nowhere to run. Now we'll have some fun with your ass.
They ran towards me, and I ran towards my fear and horror. Everything happened too quickly, and I miraculously managed to jump twice, which made me leap higher than the head of that dumb muscleman. He clearly didn't expect that, and all I could hear behind me were screams.
You little bastard, when I catch you, I'll make a real man out of you.
But I didn't care what he was shouting. I clearly ran faster than him.
Owned!
In front of me was the last door, finally a way out of this cursed place. I opened the door and froze. Simon stood there, but something was clearly wrong with him. Has he become one of them? Join us. Or do you want to be treated like Jeremy? He clearly didn't wait for my answer because of the adrenaline rush in my blood. I couldn't hold back and punched him right in the face and ran away from this cursed two-fort career. By 3 a.m., I got home, but I was still trembling from everything I had seen that night. I was utterly exhausted and worn out. I collapsed into bed and slept. When I woke up, the horror of what happened still didn't let me go. And under my door, I received a letter. It contained only a few lines. Always remember your friends. We're waiting for you. Now, every night I hear that melody and it comes from my yard. But I can't take it anymore. So tonight I'll face them head on.